Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we get into today's episode, I want to talk about one of my biggest failures in detailing. And one of my biggest failures, and I think one thing that really came back to bite me in the butt later on, and one thing that I'm slightly embarrassed by, but it's okay because we can all learn from our mistakes, right? And that was I never kept a centralized database of my clients' information, including their cell phone, their address, their the detail that they last had, how much I charged for that last detail. And a lot of that is because of when I started. I like to blame it on that, even though it's an excuse. There was no easy system to do that. So I had to keep a calendar and a physical calendar, and I wasn't aware of any technology at the time. This is back in 2008, that made it easy to do something like that, to keep track of what customer had what service done in the past and how much they paid and blah, 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 blah. So all that. Now, having that information is crucial for times that you may be slow or slow down. You can go through that digital Rolodex or physical Rolodex, if you will, of clients and customers that you can follow up with, and say things like, hey, it was, last June when you had this detail done. It's probably a good time to come in and do a maintenance detail, or you could send them a thank you postcard, or you can do all sorts of really cool things when you have your list or your database, or you have a way to store your client information. It's really, really powerful. And in fact, I think it's one of the main reasons why we see detailing equipment go so cheap on things like OfferUp and Craigslist, is because detailers think their only asset is their equipment, when really their equipment isn't that much of an asset unless you're using it, right, to make money. But your customer database is really your asset. So, but how do you, sure, you can have like an Excel spreadsheet, you can keep it in Square, you can keep it in QuickBooks, you could keep it in a physical calendar, right, or a physical journal, and those may all work. But for me, I like to kind of make my workflow efficient, both detailing a car and in business. And so I need something that's quick, searchable, automated as much as possible. And that's why I teamed up with House Call Pro. And if you go to housecallpro.com/ADP, you're going to get a free demo and a discount. And you can see all the wide variety of features that they have. But what it has, the gist of it, and the feature that I love the most, is it helps create a centralized database of your clients, their services. You can add special notes, you could add pictures, you could add all kinds of cool stuff. You can automate postcards that get sent out to them after they've completed a service. You could text them. You could text them that you're starting a job, that you're completing a job. If you have workers, that's how you can manage their time. And they're constantly coming out with new features. Anyway, it's not the whole point of this podcast. I just wanted to encourage you guys to go to housecallpro.com/ADP. If you go to that website versus just to housecallpro.com, it'll help me by telling them that you found out about them through me. So I appreciate that a lot. And so, yeah, get a centralized database of your clientele. Whether you end up using House Call Pro or you use some other service, the main tip on top of this podcast is to just have that list, have that database, and so that you can kind of reach into that at any given time, because it's a lot easier to sell to a customer that you've already sold with versus trying to find a new customer and win them over for that first initial sale. So housecallpro.com/ADP. Enjoy this episode. Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to jump in. I like to talk about obviously hot button or common or failures or whatever, or new things, technology, tools, techniques that come out. And so I've actually been getting bombarded with emails all of a sudden from Yelp, of all places, which never makes me excited. I don't like getting bombarded from calls from Yelp. I don't like being bombarded with emails from Yelp, with ads from Yelp, none of it from Yelp. I don't like Yelp at all. But I decided to open up this email because of the subject line. And I think it's, one thing that we can definitely take away from this, and this is why it's really important, and one thing that Pete and myself talk about all the time in that detailer inner circle, is that you have to look outside of your current industry for different ideas and ways to market a lot of times. And us as detailers, it's like really common, and I'm raising my hand because I'm also guilty of doing the same too, is that really guilty of copying what other detailers do. Right? And we see this all over in our detailing business, on YouTube, through podcasts, through all flyers, business cards, logos. I mean, if I see one more logo of an outline of a car, I might barf. But it's really difficult to look to, say, the real estate industry, to the construction industry, to house cleaning, to any other industry, take your pick, and then take those marketing tactics and apply them to detailing. It's extremely hard to do that, but it could be way more effective, so it's actually worth the extra time and energy and effort. Anyway, what is the point of that story? The point of that story is the title of this email from Yelp is actually what got me to open it up after receiving 857 emails from them. And it said, and they're all the same, it always starts with a name, and the subject line is, and you guys are probably getting these emails too, chances are you have a Yelp profile, but maybe you're like me and just delete them. It says, this particular one says, Tyler has a job for you. So it was always like that. It was, Kim has a job for you. Jimbo has a job for you, whatever. Add in whatever name you want. And that subject line in and of itself is very intriguing. And no matter how many times that I deleted the email, I always wondered, what's inside that email? Like, who is Tyler and how does he have a job for me? Right? So being the expert marketing guru that I am, I opened the email for once, right? After deleting it for like a month straight. And when I open it, there's a list of people. I'll just read it off because I took a screenshot of it. It says, and I'll try to screenshot in the show notes to show you guys too. It says, David D requested a pro 3 hours ago, zip code 92840, which is around me, for polishing services. Big Boss C requested a pro 3 hours ago, zip code 90247, availability ASAP. Bianca T requested a pro 3 hours ago, zip code 90280. Complete interior detailing requested by Vinzi C, zip code 90620, availability ASAP. And I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Now, to be honest, I don't know how good these are or not, but it may be a new ad product from Yelp. It is a new ad product or a new ad, a way to advertise essentially from Yelp. And the one thing that makes Yelp so strong is they have the users, right? And they have the people going to their website. They have the following. And that's what makes them so strong and robust, similar to what makes Google ads so strong, is that they have people going to Google, right? And so I know this is kind of an ad product that I think some of the coding companies will use, like a lead generation. They'll do the marketing and the lead generation for you. My big thing against that, at least has been in the past, and I'm willing to change my stance on it, is I've never been convinced that a coding company is going to have stronger marketing in a hyper-local environment than I could on my own. And why would I never want to put my marketing in the hands of another company. I always want to have, I always want to be generating my own leads, essentially. And so, and then at the end of this email, it says, interested in these jobs, ? Activate nearby jobs today and respond to the ones you want for just $8 a day. And then has a little asterisk, and it said, you will be billed $240 a month, which, damn it, Yelp. Why do you have to do that? That's been the downfall of Yelp the whole time. It sounded so good. $8 a day. But wait, we're going to bill you $240 a month. And that's just, let me get on a soapbox tangent real quick, is that's what I hate about Yelp, is that they box you in and they make you lose control. And that's what I love about Google ads is, look, if you want to spend $8 today, $400 tomorrow, and $0 the next day, you can do that. With Yelp, it's like, no, you have to spend $8 a day for 30 days because we want to lock you into that $240 a month. And if I'm going to be skeptical, that's going to say it doesn't necessarily work or it's not that good. Because if you have to lock me in for a month, that means you're just trying to take my money. Google doesn't lock me in for a month. Shoot, Google doesn't even lock me in for a full day. If I want to spend $400 today on Google and I spend $200 and I'm over it, I'm out. They don't care. Facebook the same way. You could duck out. Why does Yelp do this? I hate it. At least I hate that part of it. But the part that I liked about it is even if you spend the whole $240 in the month, it would be worth a shot of trying this for $240. Take $240 out of your account, set aside $240, whatever. The good thing for us as detailers is that to recoup our $240 doesn't actually take that much. So out of these, Tyler, David, Big Boss, C, whoever that is, Bianca, maybe that's Vince with a Z, Vinzi, I don't know. Out of those 5 people, chances are I'd probably land one of them. And I was getting these emails constantly. Now, these emails, to be transparent and fair, are probably auto-generated by Yelp to get my attention, right? Tyler has a job for me. Chances are you're not as skeptical as I am, and you're going to open that email, and then you see these 5 or 6 people that are supposedly interested in your services. And then that would, essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Get you to sign up for this $240 a month ad product or $8 a day. I think it's worth it. If I'm trying to grow my detailing business right now, I'm investing in the $240. As skeptical as I am that Yelp just wants my money, as long as they're not trying to sign me up for over a month, I'm spending the $240. And that's what I'm encouraging you guys to do today. Even though I'm not a fan of Yelp, I think this ad product is pretty interesting and would definitely be worth a look at and spending the money to see if you could land it. And I know what you guys are going to say. Yeah, but if I spend $240 and I only make $240, I didn't make any money. Wrong. You did make money. And that's where we as detailers need to get better. Even if you break even, say you spend $240, you get one client all month, which I highly doubt is going to happen. I would say that you're going to get way more than one a month. But say you just get one that month and you sell them on a $240 detail, and let's just say it takes you all day, right? So you're actually in the negative because you spent all day working on this detail to just make back what you spent in the ads. Now, a lot of detailers, I'll raise my hand again because I was guilty of this in the past until I got it explained to me in a different manner. You are at a loss. Now, where we drop the ball and where we need to get better, and this is why I pump stuff like House Call Pro and a CRM and follow up, text, blah, 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 detail and inner circle, because how you follow up with the customer is where you're actually going to make your money. And that's where a lot of people stop with their ad spend is they just think, okay, if I spend 10, I want to make 100. They don't look at, okay, I'm going to spend 10, make 10 today, but over the life cycle of that customer, I'm going to make thousands upon thousands of dollars. And that's really where you need to change your mindset is sure, you might spend $240, get one customer who spends $240, right? But if that customer visits you twice a year, 3 times a year, you sign them up on a reoccurring maintenance plan every couple weeks, once a month, and they're spending $50 a month, they're spending $500. What is the total lifetime value of that customer? That's what you have to know. And if you have a CRM, that's very helpful because you can go in and say, okay, my average customer stays with me for 5 years. On average, they spend $300. They spend $300 a year, so that customer is worth $1,500 to me. So then you change the narrative that $240 that you spent is going to make you $1,500 over the course of 5 years, if I did my math right off the top of my head. Super risky to do that. I apologize if I'm wrong. So now where the math really starts to make sense is, that customer spends $1,500 a year, and they're with me for 5 years, and then you spent $240 to get that $240 to get that customer that over the course of 5 years will produce $7,500. See what I did there was I filled in a bunch of words and fluff while I typed it out on my calculator so I wouldn't get my math wrong. So anyway, that's how you have to start looking at your total lifetime value of a customer and figure that out. A CRM will help you, but it's not that hard to also do that just with some quick math. And so if that 240 made you 7,500 or that 240 made you $1,500, you would spend that $240 every single month to get a new customer that paid you $1,500 a year, because, essentially you're in it. You're going to profit $1,260. That one I didn't use my calculator with, so I probably got it wrong. Anyway, that's a new ad product from Yelp. I just wanted to put it out there that I like it. I like the idea of it. I have no idea if it works. I would not sign up for it if they're going to do any commitment longer than a month. Try it out for a month. You can pick and choose who you want. You could buy all the leads. I'm kind of surprised. There must be more stipulations. I haven't really looked at it too in depth. For this $8 a day, I don't know if that gets you 1 or 2 leads or 1 or 2 emails. I have no idea, but it definitely is worth taking a peek at, especially if you're going into winter and you're worried about, how am I going to stay busy during winter? How am I going to kind of revamp my business during the times of COVID? How is this going to go moving forward? Might be something very interesting to check out. And if you do check it out, head over to my YouTube channel. Let me know. Head over to Instagram. Send me a DM that you've checked it out and this is a success that you had. You tried it and it's horrible and sucks. Love to hear it. So connect with me either on Instagram at Jimbo Balaam or over on my YouTube channel. You could just go to autodetailingpodcast.com/YouTube. That'll redirect you over there. But interact with me somehow. Fill me in. Let me know if this is dumb. Let me know that too. But I definitely think it's worth checking out. There you go.